Hello and welcome everyone. So today we are going to solve some of the basic or beginner level Python questions. As in the last session we have discussed and understood the syntax and basic concept of Python like variables, comments, if-else statements, loops, functions, classes, etc. If you haven't checked the video yet, link is given in the description below. So let us begin solving this question to understand the implementation of these concepts. So for that, let's move on to the coding environment and start coding. Right. So here we have already downloaded and installed Python and VS Code as the IDE that we are going to use to write our code. So what we have done is we have came up with like 10 basic questions, right? These are the 10 basic questions that we are going to solve today, and you will get the list of these questions and their code from the link which has been given in the description below, right? So let's start and see what these questions are. So the first question states, write a Python program which accepts the radius of a circle from the user and compute the area, right? So here what we have to do is we have to ask our user to provide a radius of the circle, and from using which what we will do is we will compute the area of the circle and provide it as the output. So for that, let's begin with the code. So for that, what we will do, we'll make a new file, right? And here we have to keep in mind that the extension of this file is .py, right? And quickly we'll make a comment section to write our question here, right? And now, as we have discussed, we need an input. The first thing that we need here is an input. So to take the input, what we need to do is a variable, right? And then our input function with an argument that enter the radius. Here, one more thing, the default output of this function, this input function, is a string type, right? However, in this question what we have to do is we have to calculate the area, right? Or in other words, we have to perform arithmetic operation. So here what we have to do is we have to convert this input in an integer type. So for that, what we will do is we will use typecasting, right? After that, we know the formula for area of a circle is pi r square, correct? So it's pi into r square, correct? So here what we need this pi, right? So for that, what we will do is we will come up with a new variable pi and assign a value of 3.14. There is one more method to use or to come up with the pi variable is using a module, math module, right? That particular module we will be discussing further in the later video when we are moving toward the advanced part, as this particular part is related to the basic functionality and concept of Python. Let's stick to this particular variable thing, right? So moving forward, what we will do is we will come up with a new variable, let's say a, which will give us the output or the area. So here what we'll do is we'll pi multiplied by r and its square, right? So now we have calculated the area. Now what we have to do, we have to provide an output to our user, right? So for that we will do print area a. Now our program is done. We have made or completed our program. Now let's quickly go ahead and check whether this particular program works or not. So sorry. Here it is asking to enter a radius. Let's say we are entering 5, and this is the area, right? So this particular program is working, right? Now what we'll do, we'll quickly move to our second question, right? Let's check what is the second question. It is write a Python program to accept a file name from the user and print the extension of that file, right? So here let's move on to the next file, right? It will be for question 2. We'll make the comment, and this is the question. So here what we have to understand is so sorry, that file name is actually file name dot extension, right? And what we need to provide in output is this particular extension, right? So what are we going to do? First and foremost thing that we need is an input from our user, right? So for that, let's say f is a variable and input, enter the file name, right? Now, as we know, the default output of this particular function is a string, right? So here we are not going to change it into any other data type, because we need string itself to resolve this particular query or problem, right? So now what we will do is we will quickly go ahead and make one more variable, let's say file extension, right? And here what we will do, we will pass the input provided to us by the user, right? And we'll use a new function which is split, right? Why? Because we need to split the input in two, right? The first part being the previous part of this particular dot, and the second part being the next part of this particular dot. So in split, what we will do is we will pass on a argument which is dot, which will make the Python understand that we need to split the input or the word from this particular character, which is the dot, correct? Now what we need to do, so before moving to providing the output, first understand that this particular variable will provide us an output in a form of list, right? So list, this particular variable being a list, it will contain two values. What will be the file name, and the second will be the extension, right? So here what we need to provide as an output is the extension, right? So for that we will come up with print, then file extension. Now fe, or the file extension being a list, we need the second value, right? So what we will do is we can provide it as 1, right? As right now the list contains only two values, but instead what we can do here is we can always say that we need the last value in this particular list. So for that, what we will use is a negative index, correct? So now the program is being completed. Now what we will do, we will run it and check whether this particular program is running correctly or not. So enter the file name, let's say question1.py, and py is the extension, so our program is working absolutely fine. Correct? So now moving on to the next question, question 3. Right, this is an interesting question because we have to write a Python program that accepts an integer n and computes the value of this particular equation. Right, so before moving forward and start making or coding, let's understand what this equation is. Right, so for that we will quickly make a new file and put down a comment and this. So now here, if you will see, every number here, the first one is with single digit, right? This one is with a single digit. The next number is with 2 digits, the next is with 3 digits, and so on till the init time, right? So what we have to do, let's say if n is 1, right, so it will only take the first number or the integer in this particular equation, right? So for that, let me open Paint for a minute, right, and where I'll explain this equation. So the equation with us is n plus n plus n plus n times. Correct? So when n is equals to 1, right, what this equation will give us, only the first number, which will be equal to n, right? When n equals to 2, the equation that we get is, that will be 2 plus 2, 2. How? Because n being the number 2, the equation will provide us with the 2 elements or 2 numbers, right? Similarly, when n is 3, the equation that we will get will be 3 plus 3, 3 plus 3, 3, 3, and so on, right? So we have to make a program for this particular concept or logic, right? So here, the first thing that we need is an input from our user. So for that's easy. Now I do understand that taking an input from user is very easy for you, right? X will be equal to, and it will be input, enter the number, right? Now again, we know that input will provide us a string, but we need an integer. So what we will do is we'll use the typecast right here. Now what we have to do is we'll come up with a new variable which will start from 0 and act as a counter. Correct? Now the logic, for logic we will use something which is known as for loop, right? So for I in range will start from 1 and it will end with x plus 1. I do understand that you have understood why we have used this particular range. If not, please do let us know in the comment section below so that we can help you out here, right? Moving forward, the main logic will be a So this is the main logic that we are doing. So what exactly we are doing here, right? So we are providing a as a variable, right? So it is also equivalent to a equal to a plus teacher x multiplied by I, right? Moving forward now, the a that we are going to get in this particular step, right, is our output, right? So for that, print it will be a. I do understand that you might be feeling that what exactly we are doing, right? But need not to worry. If you face any issue to understand the implementation, please let us know in the comment section below or on the Discord. The link for the Discord community is given in the description below, right? On Discord, we are trying to make a strong community for all the techies from the beginner to veteran level, so we can grow together. On Discord, what you can do is you can ask questions, have discussions, play games, and also one-on-one sessions with me or any other mentors, right? So for joining in, please visit the link which has been provided in the description below. So moving forward, this particular question has been solved. Let's quickly go ahead and check, right? So here, let's say we are providing the number as 2. So here n is 2, right? When n is 2, it will provide us output for 2 plus 22, which is 24, correct? The solution is absolutely correct. So now the function or the program has been completed and it is working fine. Let's move on to the next question. So for the next question, it is write a Python program to print the calendar of the given month and year. So here what we are doing, we are asking our user to provide us with the month and the year, right? And we will provide the actual calendar for that particular month, correct? So for that, we will make a new file .py, and this is the question that we are dealing with. So we need two input, right? It will be a month, so input, enter the month, right? And moving forward, next thing is we need year as well. So it will be enter the year. Now we got the month and the year. Now what we need to do? We need to produce a calendar for this particular month and year which has been provided. So for that, what we will do, we will call a module, which is, to call a module, we import it, right? And the module that we are going to import here is calendar. Okay, so now what we will do here is we have to print. What we have to print is we have to print the calendar for the month, and in month we need to pass the year and the month as an argument, so it will be like this. But however, there is one thing that has been missing, that is the value of m and y are still string. However, to process this particular statement, we need m and y as an integer. So what we will do, we will do a typecasting here. It will be int Same goes in the second statement. It's end. Now it's completed. Now let's go and check whether it's running or not. Enter a month, let's say 4 or April. Second, let's say 2020. And this is the calendar for the month of April 2020. So now that means this particular code is working fine, absolutely fine. Let's move on to the next question, which is question 5, and it's a good one. So it is write a Python program to get the current username. So what exactly we want from this particular code that we are going to make is it should give us an output, right, of the user which is working on the system, right, on this particular system. So for that, let's make a new file. Let's file. So to work around with this particular what I can say question, what we have to do is we have to again import a new module, right? So import, and the module that's going to help us in this particular code is getPass. So I do understand right now we have seen two new modules. One is calendar, there is getPass. And if you feel like you are facing some issues, right, or you want to explore these particular modules, what I'll do is I'll provide you a link of the documentation for these particular modules where you can go ahead and read about them. If you find any issues, any difficulties understanding these particular modules, you can always connect with us on Discord, and for the Discord the link has been given into the description below. So moving forward, now what we just need to know the current username. So for that, what we will do is we will print. So with getPass, there is a function which is getUser, and that's done. Now when we run this particular program, what it will provide us, the current username, right? So let's run it. So see, this is my username as we are running on my computer, right? This means our program is running absolutely fine, correct? So I'll again say, if you feel any issues, if you feel like you are not understanding something or something related to these questions that we are solving, or any other questions that you have personally, you can always connect with us, right? You can provide us the information about the issue in the comments, or you can connect with us on the Discord, right? So moving forward, let's move on to question number 6. So for question number 6, it is write a Python program to calculate the sum of 3 given numbers. If the number are equal, then return 3 times of their sum, right? I understand you. I think actually you understood what we have to do in this question, right? So for that, first let's make a new file, then the comment, right? So first and foremost thing is that we need 3 input from the user, right? But now if for taking 3 input from user, I have to write 3 line of code. So there is one good thing that in Python we can do that in a single statement. For that, the statement is, let's say A is the first variable, B is the second, and C is the last. Then what we will do, we'll go with int x, as x being the input that will be provided. then we'll use for x in input. Now we will ask our user to enter the numbers, and at the last we will use split function, and we are not going to provide any argument to that function. So it's kind of small assignment for you, like do some research on this, what exactly I have done here, right? How I am taking three different inputs in a single statement, and once you come across with it, like you understood what exactly is been done here, right? Please do mention all the details in the comment so that we can understand that you are doing your part as well, right? If you face difficulties, like you are unable to understand, please connect with us. We will be very much happy to help you out. So moving forward, now what we need to do, we have taken three inputs, three integers. Now we have to give their sum as an output. So for that, let's make a variable. Let's say sum, it will be equal to a plus b plus c, correct? Now the next thing is, if the numbers are equal, then return 3 times of their sum. So now we have to check whether these numbers are equal or not. So for that, we will use if statement. If a is equals to b and ab are equals to c, then what will happen? It will print sum into 3, correct? 3 times of their sum. Else, if the numbers are not equal, then they will print the sum itself, right? Let's see whether our program is running correctly or not, right? So enter the numbers. So let's say we are entering 3, then 2 and 5. So the output should be 10, I guess, correct? Let's say we are running our program once again, and now we are providing 3, 3 and 3. So it should be 27. That means our code is running correctly. So we have solved this particular question. So now if you have any issue, see, as I have told you that this particular line, I would suggest, or I'll request you guys to go ahead and do some research on this statement, what exactly is going on, right? If you find any difficulty, we are there to help you out. Feel free to reach us out on any particular platform, whether it's YouTube, Discord, or other platforms like LinkedIn or Facebook, right? So moving forward, let's take the next question, what exactly it says. So the 7th question is, write a Python program to count the number 4 in a given list. So there is a list which has been given to us, right, as per the question. So to start solving, let's make a new file and we'll make a comment, right? So the list that has been provided to us, it's very simple list, right? It's like this. This is the list which has been provided to us. So what we have to do is, we have to count how many times number 4 is appearing or coming in this particular list, right? So if we are counting it manually, so the answer should be 3, 1, 2 and 3, correct? So for that, what we will do, first and foremost thing that we will do, let's say we will come up with a variable, let's say v, or right, and we will assign it as 0. After that, we will use for loop for I in x. So what will this for loop do? it will take a single value out of the list in every iteration. So for the first time when the for loop runs, it will take as 1. For the second, it will take 4. For the third time, it will take 6, and so on. Now what we have to do, we have to compare whether the value that the for loop is giving is 4 or not. Correct? So for that, what we will do is, if I equal to 4, then we will increment this particular variable. So it will be v equal to v plus 1. Now what we will do, we will come out of the for loop and print number of 4 will be v. So let's quickly go ahead and check what how our program is running, not how, but whether our program is running correctly or not. So here we can see that, I'm so sorry that I have misspelled number. Yeah, so it's providing us the output of 3, right? Let's say we are making some changes in this particular list. Let's say it's 5, then 6, 8, 4, 5, again 4. So now it's 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Now there are 5 instances of 4, right? So when we run, it's 5. That means our program is running absolutely correct. So moving forward, we will quickly go ahead and check question 8. It states that write a Python program to test whether a passed letter is a vowel or not. Right? So what we have to ask our user is to provide us with a letter or a character, and after that we will see whether the letter given to us by user is a vowel or not. Correct? So for that, it will be question8.py, our comment. So now what we will do is, we'll need a character. We will ask our user to provide us an input, and it will be enter the character. Correct? Now what we have to do? Now we have to compare this particular character, the input character, with our vowels, right? To check whether the character given to us is a vowel or not. So for that, what we'll do, we'll come up with a new variable, let's say, right? And it will be a string, AEU. We are going to pass all the vowels here in a single string. Now what we will do, we will see if C in V. If this is correct, then it will be print. It will print vowel. Else, it will print not vowel. Let's quickly go ahead and check whether this particular program is running correctly or not. So enter correct. Let's say it's T, enter, it's not a vowel. Again, let's say it's A, it's a vowel. That means our program is running absolutely correct. If you are finding any difficulties, as I've already told you, provide us your issues or your difficulties into the comments, or you can connect with us on the Discord as well, link to which is given into the description below. Right? So moving forward, now we just have 2 more questions left. So now what we'll do, the next question is, write a Python program to concatenate all elements in the list in a list into a string and return it. So what we have here, right? So let's make a new file first. It's py. What we need here, so as it states that there is a list which has been given to us, right? So I'll display the list here. This is the list which has been given. Now what we have to do is we have to concatenate or add all these particular letters which are present in our list and make a string out of it and then return it, right? So for that, what we will do, there is a special function that we have here which is join, right? What this function will do, it will take the elements from the list, right, and concatenate them in a string, right? So let's see how are we going to do it, right? So here what we will do, we will pass a space or a white space, right? Because we need space between every word in this particular list, right? Now we will do join and then we will pass our list. Now if I print the list or L, we will get the string, right? Let's quickly go ahead and check whether we get a string or not. So if you will see, here is the output string and this is the output that we need, right? That shows that our program is running absolutely fine. Now moving on to the next question, the last question, right? And the last question is write a Python program that will accept the base and height of a triangle and compute the area. I think this particular question, now you feel confident and ease out that you can make this particular question very easily, right? I do think that, I do hope that actually, right? So moving forward, let's see how are we going to do that. Again, we need an input. We need two input right now, right? Let's say it's base, so it will be integer input, then we will say enter the base, then we need height, it will be int, then input, then enter the height, enter the height. Now what we need, now just we have to calculate the area of the triangle. For area of triangle, let it be A. It will be equal to base into height divided by 2, and we'll provide the output for this. For that we will use print area will be A. That's it, right? Now let's quickly go ahead and run this particular program. So enter the base, it will be 3, height let's say 4, and the area is 6. Now if you will see, we haven't used any measuring units like centimeters, meters, or any other different units, right, in any question. Why? Because we are here just to understand logic and to understand the usage of the functions, right? So as this particular session was completely about the basics of syntax, concepts, and implementation of Python, and I do hope that you have understood how we work around with all the different concepts, functions in Python. If you feel any issues, any difficulties, please do let us know into the comments or join us on our Discord, right? For the Discord, link has been given into the description below. And what I'll do, as I have told you, that you will be getting all these questions and their answers from the link given in the description below. What I'll do, I'll quickly go ahead and update these particular questions and files into my Git repository, from where you can have all the details of the questions and the answers or the code. So certainly we will be discussing how we are going to use, or how we are actually connect or integrate the GitHub or Git in our VS Code. For that we will be making a separate video, right? And I do hope that this particular video helps you. And if you like the content videos and you understood, please do like, subscribe and share our channel and like this particular video. Thank you very much.